You want to know what the definition of insanity is? It's not doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. No. The definition of insanity is being a Nintendo fan in 2026 and expecting this multi-billion-dollar corporation to treat you with even a shred of goddamn respect. I tried to tell you. I sat right here, looked you in the eye, and told you to keep your expectations in the gutter. But no. The hopiumatics were out in full force.
Oh, Jacson, it's February. It's the anniversary.
Surely they have a general direct. Surely they won't leave the Switch 2 out to dry. Well, guess what? The verdict is in. Nate the Hate, the one guy with the track record that isn't absolute dog water, has confirmed it. It is a partner showcase. We are sitting in the middle of a drought that would make the Sahara look like a rainforest, and Nintendo looks at us and says, "Here, have some third-party scraps." And frankly, it feels terrible. We are watching a train wreck in slow motion, and the conductor is asleep at the wheel. And you know what the worst part is? The worst part is that I saw this coming from a mile away. Last year, I told everyone who would listen, the Switch 2 is trash and a big mistake. The Switch 2 is the biggest flop. But did anyone listen? No. The YouTube comments were full of people saying I was being too negative. You're just a hater, Jacson. Why can't you just let people be excited? Nintendo always delivers in the end. Well, here we are, and I'm the one who gets to say I told you so. And let me tell you something, it doesn't feel good. I don't want to be right about this. I want to be wrong. I want to boot up my Switch 2 and have a library so stacked that I don't know what to play first. Don't you want to be drowning in quality first-party titles? But instead, you're sitting here with Mario Kart World, which is just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with a new coat of paint and some battle courses, and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which, let's be honest, is not going to set the world on fire. This is a fiduciary failure of epic proportions. The Switch 2? The console you spent $450 on, the future of gaming? It's on life support. The holiday sales were down. Investors are spooked. You can smell the panic in the boardroom. Or maybe you can't because they're too busy counting the money from the Mario Kart World re-releases to care. They have gone full-on predatory. They are treating you like pay pigs. And before the 90 Defense Force starts typing their 500-word essays in the comments about how development takes time, let me save you the trouble. I don't give a damn. If you are defending this, you are part of the problem. You are enabling a company that is actively spitting in your face while reaching for your wallet. They have no first-party heavy hitters. The kitchen is closed. Nobody is cooking. The chef walked out 6 months ago. And let me address this development takes time argument head on because I'm sick of hearing it. Yes, development takes time. I understand that. Game development is hard. I get it. But you know what? Nintendo is not some indie studio working out of a garage. They are a multi-billion-dollar corporation with thousands of employees and multiple development studios around the world. When Sony launches the PS5, they have Spider-Man, Demon's Souls. When Microsoft launches Xbox Series X, they have Game Pass with hundreds of titles ready to go. But when Nintendo launches the Switch 2, we get two games that could have been DLC for existing titles. This is unacceptable. And what makes it worse is that we know they have the resources. We know they have the talent. They made Breath of the Wild. They made Odyssey. They made Metroid Dread. These are incredible games. But where are they now? Where is the ambition? Where is the innovation? Instead, we're getting ports. We're getting remakes. We're getting enhanced editions of games we already bought 2 years ago on the Switch 1. And they expect us to pay full price for them. Again, this isn't about games being fun. This is about market saturation and consumer confidence. See, in the corporate world, when you launch a new hardware ecosystem, you need what's called a loss leader or a system seller to drive adoption rates. Nintendo is trying to invert the model. They are effectively outsourcing the success of their own platform because they failed to manage their internal development pipelines. It's incompetence, pure and simple. They are relying on the brand loyalty elasticity, betting that you're too addicted to the red cap to switch to a Steam Deck or a PS5. They're banking on your nostalgia being an infinite resource. But let me tell you something about economics. Bubbles burst. And this is a bubble of arrogance. Let me break down what's actually happening here from a business perspective, because this is important. Nintendo's strategy right now is predicated on what economists call brand equity extraction. They're not building value, they're mining it. They're taking the goodwill they've accumulated over decades. The memories of playing Super Mario 64 on Christmas morning, the nights you stayed up playing Ocarina of Time, the joy of discovering Breath of the Wild, and they're converting that goodwill into revenue without replacing it. This is unsustainable. You can't run a business on nostalgia alone. Eventually, the well runs dry. and we're seeing the cracks already. The Switch 2 launch numbers are good, but they're not great. And more importantly, the attach rate, the number of games people are buying per console, is abysmal. People are buying the hardware because they trust Nintendo, but they're not buying the software because there's nothing to buy. And you know what happens when attach rates are low? Third-party developers get nervous. They start looking at the numbers and thinking, why should we develop for this platform? And then the whole thing collapses like a house of cards. Nintendo is playing a dangerous game right now. They're betting that they can coast on brand recognition while they figure out their development pipeline. But the market doesn't wait. Consumers don't wait. And if they don't turn this around soon, we're looking at Wii U 2.0. And I hear the excuses already. But Jacson, let Nintendo cook. They need time to make the games perfect. Let them cook, bro. What are they cooking? A grilled cheese sandwich? It's been years. We are staring down the barrel of a lineup that includes a Tamagotchi Life port, which is a Switch 1 game by the way, and a Mario Tennis update.
Oh, what about Mario 40th anniversary?
Yeah, and what did we get? A logo? A pat on the back. The 35th anniversary gave us the All-Stars collection. The 40th gave us Silence. It's a joke. A sick, twisted joke. And don't get me started on the Zelda 40th. Ocarina of Time 4K is coming, bro. Shut up. Just shut up. It's a partner showcase. Link is not walking through that door. Zelda is not walking through that door. The only thing walking through that door is disappointment and maybe a farming simulator from a studio you've never heard of. You know what really grinds my gears? The people who say, well, maybe they're saving the big announcements for later in the year. Oh, are they? Are they really? Because that's what you said last year and the year before that. At what point do we stop giving them the benefit of the doubt? Nintendo has conditioned you to expect nothing and be grateful for scraps. They've trained you like Pavlov's dogs to get excited for the bare minimum, and every time they throw you a bone, every time they announce a port of a 10-year-old game, you wag your tail and say, thank you, sir, may I have another. It's pathetic. And I don't mean that as an insult to you personally. I mean it as an observation of what this company has done to its fan base. They've created this dynamic where you're so starved for content that anything, literally anything, looks like a feast. Remember when Metroid Prime 4 was announced? It's been almost a decade before they released it, and it was still trash. Like, why did you take that long then? Let's look at the reality of the Switch 2 right now. We have Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's it. That is the entire strategy for the first year. And let's be real about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I love the ape, I respect the tie, but is a 3D Donkey Kong game moving units in 20? No, it's a niche title for people like me, who remember what joy felt like. The gap between major announcements is becoming a chasm. We are looking at 8 months. 8 months between substantive first-party reveals. In this industry, that is an eternity. This reminds me of the Wii U era. I'm getting flashbacks, man. The PTSD is kicking in. The arrogant, we don't need to try energy. The we'll just release a generic Mario title and they'll buy it energy. They are operating from a place of unearned confidence. They think they're untouchable. But here's what really kills me about the Switch 2 situation. The hardware is just aight. Like, it's honestly only a little bit better than the Switch 1. The screen is mid at best. The performance is just okay. The backwards compatibility works, but it's nothing special. From a technical standpoint, this is a painfully average piece of hardware. It does the bare minimum of what it's supposed to do, which makes the software situation even more inexcusable. They had years to prepare for this launch. Years. The Switch 2 didn't just materialize out of thin air last month. They've been working on this console for at least 3 or 4 years, which means they've had 3 or 4 years to line up software for launch. And this is what we get. 2 games that barely qualify as new, but wait, it gets worse. Because it's not just about what they aren't giving us. It's about what they are giving us, and how they're screwing us for it. Let's talk about the Virtual Boy on Nintendo Switch Online. This is, without a doubt, the single greediest, most disgusting anti-consumer move I have seen from this company in a decade. And that is a high bar. So you want to play Wario Land VB. Great game, classic. Here's the Nintendo tax breakdown. The subscription, you can't just have the base NSO. No, you need the expansion pack. You need to pay the premium. The hardware, they are locking these games behind a hardware requirement. You either buy the $100 goggles or the $25 cardboard trash. Why do I need to strap plastic to my face to play a game that is essentially red and black lines? I can pull out my phone right now, download an emulator, and play every Virtual Boy game ever made in perfect quality with custom color palettes for free. But Nintendo, the multi-billion-dollar giant, they can't figure out how to put a VB game on a TV screen without selling you a peripheral? Bullshit. They know the only people who care about Virtual Boy are old farts in their 30s and 40s. They know that those people are disposable income. It sets a precedent that should terrify you. What's next? You want to play DS games on NSO? Better buy the $150 dual screen attachment. You want to play Duck Hunt? Better buy the $80 plastic gun. They are normalizing the idea that you have to buy physical e-waste to access digital content you're already paying a subscription for. It is predatory, and if you defend it because it's the authentic experience, you are a clown. Let me explain why this Virtual Boy situation is so much worse than it appears on the surface. Nintendo Switch Online is already a premium service. You're already paying them $50 a year for the expansion pack. And what do you get for that $50? You get access to N64 games and Genesis games. Games that are decades old. Games that you can emulate for free on a potato. But fine, whatever. Some people want the convenience, some people want the official experience. I can respect that. But now they're adding another layer of cost on top of that. Now you need to buy hardware to access content that should just be part of the service you're already paying for. And the thing is, this sets a precedent. If they can get away with this, if people actually buy these stupid goggles or the cardboard headset, then what's stopping them from doing this with every other legacy platform? What's stopping them from requiring a special controller to play GameCube games? What's stopping them from requiring some proprietary adapter to play DS games? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's what makes this so dangerous. And if we let them get away with this, it's only going to get worse. We need to have a serious conversation about how Nintendo views its audience. They think you are a toddler. They think you are incapable of handling the human anatomy. Dispatch, a game aimed at adults. Rated for adults, is censored on the Switch 2. Forced black bars. No toggle, no option. On PS5. Uncensored. On PC. Uncensored. On Switch, you get the baby mode because Nintendo is terrified that a pixelated cleavage might cause society to collapse. And here's the kicker, Cyberpunk 2077 isn't censored. You can customize your junk in Cyberpunk on the Switch 2. You can see full nudity in The Witcher 3. But Dispatch gets the black bar treatment? Where is the consistency? Where is the logic? I'll tell you where it is. It's in the arbitrary enforcement of opaque guidelines. Nintendo is playing favorites. They are picking and choosing who gets to be an adult game and who gets the family-friendly muzzle. And the developer, Ad Hoc Studio, they rolled over. They said, oh, we worked with Nintendo to meet criteria. Cowards. You compromise your artistic vision to kiss the ring. And guess what? People are refunding it, and you should too. If you bought Dispatch on Switch, go get your money back. Tell them why. Tell them I am an adult, I pay taxes, I can handle a polygon titty. Stop treating me like I'm 5 years old. This Nintendo guys are children mentality needs to die. But as long as you keep buying this censored garbage, they will keep serving it to you. The censorship issue runs deeper than just Dispatch though. This has been a pattern with Nintendo for years. They have this squeaky clean image they want to maintain, and I get it. They're a family-friendly company, that's their brand. But there's a difference between being family-friendly and being patronizing. You know what the worst part is? Nintendo themselves publish games with mature content in Japan. Bayonetta, Nintendo published that. It's got sexual content, violence, the whole 9 yards. But in the West, they get squeamish about a little bit of anime cleavage in a third-party game. The hypocrisy is staggering. And what really bothers me is that they don't give us a choice. If they want to have a family-friendly default setting, fine. But give us a toggle in the settings. Let adults make adult decisions about what content they want to see. It's not complicated. But no, Nintendo knows better than you. Nintendo will decide what you can and cannot see on the device you paid for. And if you don't like it, too bad. Go play on a different platform, which, by the way, is exactly what people are doing. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jacson, is there anything good? Is there any reason to wake up in the morning? Well, ironically, the best thing on the Switch 2 right now isn't even a Nintendo game. It's Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. Mostly because I don't want to look like a hater, but because facts are facts. It's $40. That price point does a lot of heavy lifting. If this was $70, I'd be roasting it, but for $40, it's a steal. And visually, I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked. I expected a blurry, stuttering mess. But it looks good, like genuinely good. The lighting, the models, it holds up. Sure, it's 30 FPS, but the frame pacing is solid, and that's what matters. If you can lock that 30 and keep it smooth, I can live with it. It doesn't feel like a Switch game. It feels like a premium experience that somehow got lost and wandered onto a Nintendo cartridge. But we have to talk about the game key cards. You buy the box, you get a download code. You own nothing. You are renting a license. Usually, I'd burn the building down over this. But at $40, I'm conflicted. It's almost like they found my price. Everyone has a price, right? Apparently mine is $40. It's a good value for a bad practice. And that's how they get you. They lube up the anti-consumer practice with a discount sticker. Do I recommend it? Yeah, actually. If you haven't played it, it's the best looking game on the system, which is sad because it's a PS4 port from years ago. But that's where we are. The fact that a PS4 port is the best looking game on the Switch 2 tells you everything you need to know about the state of Nintendo's first party development right now. And you know what else is funny? The game key card situation? This is another example of Nintendo's anti-consumer practices, but at least in this case, it's not Nintendo's fault. This is Square Enix being Square Enix. But the fact that Nintendo allows it on their platform, that's telling. They could put their foot down. They could say, no, if you're going to sell a physical product in our ecosystem, it needs to actually contain the game on a cartridge. But they don't. because they don't care. As long as they get their cut, they're happy to let publishers do whatever they want. And you know what the real kicker is? Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is a better value proposition than anything Nintendo is offering right now. Think about that. A port of a 4-year-old game from a third-party publisher is a better deal than Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's embarrassing. That should be embarrassing for Nintendo. But it's not, because they have no shame. Let me take a step back and look at the broader industry for a second, because I think it's important to contextualize just how badly Nintendo is fumbling right now. Sony launched the PS5 in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic and still managed to have a better launch lineup than the Switch 2. They had Demon's Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy, Astro's Playroom. And yes, some of those were cross-gen titles, but they were still new games. They were still reasons to buy the hardware. Microsoft launched the Xbox Series X with Game Pass, which gave players instant access to hundreds of games. Say what you want about Xbox's first-party output, but at least they understand value. At least they're giving players a reason to buy into their ecosystem. Even Valve, a company that doesn't even make hardware as their primary business, launched the Steam Deck with better support than the Switch 2. The entire Steam library. Thousands upon thousands of games. Day one. But Nintendo launches with 2 games. 2. And one of them is basically a port. It's inexcusable. There's no other word for it. And you know what really gets me? Nintendo has the resources to do better. They have more cash on hand than Sony and Microsoft combined. But they don't. Because they don't have to. Because people like you keep buying their products anyway. Because the brand is so strong that they can coast on nostalgia and name recognition without actually putting in the work. And you know what? I'm gonna say something controversial here. This isn't just Nintendo's fault. This is your fault too. You enable this behavior. Every time Nintendo does something anti-consumer, there's a chorus of voices ready to defend them. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, you're just being dramatic. Oh, Nintendo is a business. What do you expect? You know what I expect? I expect them to treat you like a valued customer instead of a walking wallet. I expect them to respect your time and money. I expect them to deliver on their promises. But you've set the bar so low that anything above complete disaster is considered a win. You've normalized mediocrity. You've accepted that Nintendo doesn't have to try because we'll buy their products anyway. And every time someone like me speaks up about it, we get dogpiled by the Nintendo Defense Force. People who are so emotionally invested in the brand that they take any criticism as a personal attack. If you really love Nintendo, you should be demanding more from them. You should be pushing back against anti-consumer policies. You should be vocal about your disappointment when they fail to deliver. Instead, we get people pre-ordering games that don't even have release dates yet. We get people defending censorship. Because it's Nintendo's platform, they can do what they want. We get people making excuses for why there are no games. Stop. Just stop. You're making it worse for everyone. So, where does that leave us? I'm at a 2 out of 10 on the excitement scale. My wallet is closed to Nintendo's first-party garbage. I'm playing PS5. I'm playing retro games. I'm doing literally anything other than supporting this current regime of arrogance and greed. But don't let them gaslight you. This is not normal. This is not okay. This is a company that has stopped trying because they think they own you. Prove them wrong. Vote with your wallet. Refund the censored games. Don't buy the cardboard VR headset. Or don't. Go buy your slop. Consume product. Get excited for next product. Whatever. So, yeah, what do you think? I want to know. And hit the like button, or don't. I ain't gonna force you. Jacson out. Peace.